Hello friends, how are you? Vladimir here, and this is my 2014 forecast. That in this video I will share with you my expectations from the market for 2014. But before that, a quick summary about 2013. 2013 was not an easy year for traders. I'm not talking about intraday, I'm not talking about scalpers, I'm talking about investments, and I'm talking about long-term trading. And the environment around the world about 2013 is not as good as it used to be on previous years. That technically that was not easy year to trade. We did very good calls during the year. When I say we, I mean myself and the club, of course, the traders inside the club, and my students. And there were several perfect calls, provided a lot of pips, a lot of opportunities. But also there were several mistakes. I was personally wrong with the yen pairs. I did not see such strong move like it did. I was wrong also about Australian pairs, which surprised me with its power. I was expecting for 154, and you can see that on the 2013 prediction. But I admit I never saw that happening like this fast. So this year was, in general, good, not as good as previous years, and all the eyes now are for 2014. So in this video, I will talk about all the things I expect to happen this year. But before I start, let me take a moment and thank you very much for your support during 2013, for following me this long period, for giving faith in me even when I'm wrong. As you know, no one... Sorry, just to return the cold a bit. No one is 100% correct, of course, and same about myself. And I want to wish you and all your family, friends, and loved ones the best new year, and a very, very, very happy new year. I hope this evening and this period will be wonderful for you. You will enjoy it. You will rest a lot. You will do wonderful things, and you will spend your time with the ways you like. And I wish you that 2014 will be a wonderful year that will smile every day for every one of you. And once again, thank you for your faith in me and my trading. And now back to the technical things and fundamental as well. What do I expect to happen? So I would start with the majors. I guess that's what the majority wants, probably. I will start with the euro dollar. Now, I'm bearish on my views about the euro dollar, okay, in general. And my reasons for that are mainly fundamental. Not that technical, also technical, but mainly fundamental. Why? Many countries took loans just to find a way to recover their economies. The higher the euro will go, the more they will have to pay back, the bigger the pressure that will be. Now, there are several new countries joining the Eurozone, and these countries are not exactly Germany or Netherlands. Right? These countries also suffer from a bad economy. Now, the Eurozone is strong. Okay, don't get me wrong, the Eurozone is strong and they're ready to fight for that, and I believe they will win. Okay? But in this fight and in this war, a very high euro is not acceptable for the leaders. Okay? And the higher the euro will go, the bigger the pressure on the bearish side will be, and that's where I believe we will see the euro going down. Now, how I expect it to happen? There are two scenarios for that. Scenario number one, watching on a weekly chart, or a monthly chart, we can see that we are on a very, very, very big triangular or something like that. So according to this sideways move, I would expect the euro dollar to top very, very, very soon and go to the middle of this zone at least, which means I expect the euro dollar to reach something like this is the middle from here, yeah, approximately the 133, 132 once again, at least. Of course, I will not be surprised if we will reach the bottom around 120 once again, but that's for further longer term. How I expect it to happen now. According to the weekly chart, there is a bearish divergence right now creating, as you can see on the MACD. Okay, that's a bearish divergence. So a down move could begin any moment. And this down move could take us back to this trend line, as I just showed you, and back to the 133, 132, maybe even a bit lower first of all. Another scenario that is easily could happen is the euro dollar push to the top of the channel, which means 140, 142 also acceptable, 143. Create this divergence to be longer than it is right now, creating some, let's make it like this, creating some duplication of this wave, okay, topping this zone directly, and then starting a very stiff correction and a downtrend move for at least 1,000 points. Now that's the two scenarios how I believe the euro will act. Make long story short, watching on a monthly chart, I still think the euro is able to reach the levels I've just mentioned, like 140 up to 142, 143 even, maybe even bit higher. But in general, the higher we go, the stronger my personal bearish expectation is. Now, according to the long-term move, I do think the euro dollar will be once again something like 124, 120, or maybe even create a visit around 115, 110 zone once again. And why do I think so? If you take a look on the entire range, okay, the middle of the entire range is exactly, well, not exactly, but approximately around 115, something like in between 120 down to 115 zone. The time it has spent from all the history, okay, above this zone is more than twice bigger than the time it spent below the zone. And that's why I believe the statistics in this case will strengthen itself, and from one of the levels I've mentioned, I believe the euro will top and will start the down move once again. Well, for shorter term, you know, my target 132 approximately. Okay, that of course we're talking for long run. 132, 133 is the same. Okay, and same about 131. So I cannot give the exact number, but this is the zone I expect to go. And for longer run, 120 and then even 115, 110. But don't get me wrong, that might not happen in 2014. Okay, that could take much longer. But this is what and how I see things happening. My expectation about the pound dollar to top very, very, very soon. Then I think pound dollar will find a top during the beginning of 2014, and watch on the monthly chart. Watching on the monthly chart, we have a monster resistance zone starting from 166 up to 172. Monster zone. We have a bend to bend on a monthly chart. It's not that wide, but it's bend to bend move. It means we could expect a top soon. Watching on a weekly chart, we start to see a bearish divergence forming. And watching on a daily chart, we see a divergence as well. To make all this story in one sentence, I expect a top at the beginning of the year. That might be January, that might be February. I expect the pound dollar to drop right after that down to and these are very, very important levels. I believe the pound will take us once again to this range, which is 160. And after creating this kind of, but that would be, of course, lower. And after creating this expected bottom, I suspect and expect from the pound, so something like that, okay, top, then down, then a bullish hidden divergence to form for the pound, and then up again for something like 180. So I do think, again, my reasons are very, very easy to explain, okay, watching on the entire range for the pound dollar, okay, what did I do? Okay, something like that. Okay, the middle is here approximately. The time it's spent below, okay, is much bigger than the time it's spent above. And I believe the statistic is about to straighten itself, and that's why I think pound will find the reasons to stay above the this middle here. Okay, and after creating some top around this zone, and I believe that could be like 180, maybe even a bit higher, and then I believe pound will drop all the way down once again. So I believe on a very short term a top, I believe for a correction, not that big, like 400-500 points or so, maybe a bit more. Then I believe we will find a bottom, and then I believe the pound will rise once again. And how that should affect on the euro pound? Well, I think the euro pound, watching on a monthly chart and a weekly chart, might and probably will go lower. And I think it should reach something like 0.82, maybe even 0.80 once again, maybe even 0.78, which is the bottom of 2012. Yeah, maybe here. But I believe this will be the bottom for this pair, and it will start to reverse with from there. So to make long story short, I think selling rallies followed by bearish divergence should be a good thing to do for a euro pound. From my point of view, there is more for this pair to go. And I keep my bearish view as long as the euro pound stays below 0.85. If this pair is crossed, will put itself and hold there above the 0.85, I will most likely have to reanalyze the entire scenario and see how it is behaving then. Okay, as long as it's below, I keep my bearish expectation, and selling rallies should do well most likely. And now for the pairs I've been wrong about on 2013, the yen pairs. Well, with all the intervention from the central bank, the dollar yen and the other yen pairs made a very, very aggressive, strong up move. In my point of view, there is more to go on the short term. But watching on a monthly chart, something very rare is happening. A continuing divergence starts to form itself on a monthly chart. It does not mean necessarily it will stop here. That could be 108, that could be 110, and that could be even higher. But the bearish divergence starts to place itself. RSI monthly is reaching extreme around 80, and watching on history, almost never it happened before. It was on a very close to 80 levels, but never reached the 80 exactly. Fall off from there, dollar yen historically did dramatical down moves. Now the bank is making very, very, very strong interventions, and it will most likely not stop, but it might go and change its intervention, change the way it intervened. And by that, the investors might go and run back to the Japanese yen because they will start to get some fear that the new plan that the government might take and replace the current one will not be as good as the current one, and then we will see a drop. There are many reasons for that fundamentally why it could happen, but technically, from my point of view, the classical zone would be 107 up to 110. That's the classical zone. There are divergence on monthly starts to form, on weekly starts to form, and we have classical probably 5 waves, okay, like 1, 2, 3, 4 here with a triangle, 5 now. I believe we are about to top, and I believe we will see ABC that will take us for the entire something like that, okay, an entire move in between 98 then down to 90 for the dollar yen. Okay, so my expectations here, and yes, I have been on a bearish view most of the part, not always, but most of the part for 2013. I was wrong about that, but my expectation stay bearish now because of different reasons. Okay, but technically, but still stay bearish for the short term, not for the very, very long term. For the several years further, I do believe that after this correction we could expect during 2014, the pair will find a bottom and will continue to rise. I will not be surprised if in future, on 2015, 16, we will see the dollar yen again on something like 120 or so, maybe even higher. Okay, so for 2014, I expect a top and I expect a bearish move to the levels I have mentioned. And that means I'm also bearish on the euro yen and the pound yen and the other pairs. For the euro yen, historically, we are now, as you can see, above the middle. Okay? The time spent below is bigger than time spent above. Not dramatically, but still bigger. So I believe we are about to top here for some time. Create this divergence, create an extreme probably, and maybe from 145, maybe from 155, this is the zone. I believe euro yen will find its top as well, and will take us for back to this is well, that's according to the weekly chart. Let's go back here. These are the levels I expect. In between, starting with 134 down to 128, and maybe even maybe 122, but I'm doubtful. Okay, so yes, I'm still bearish here, but again, I don't think that from here this up move ended. No, I do think we will see just a dramatic, strong correction. Then I believe for continuation on further run. Same I believe is about to happen with the pound yen. Watching on a monthly chart, making a dramatical up move. RSI monthly is coming to extreme. MACD monthly is coming to extreme. There are a lot of resistances here, here, here with the close, here. Okay, every like 300-400 points is a dramatical strong resistance for the pound yen. I believe we are about to find a top there, dropping down to weekly chart. We can see that according to that and its divergences, pound yen will most likely take us to the first trend line from here, somewhere from here or a bit higher, down to this zone, and that means like above 1,000 pips, and then maybe even all the way for the bottom trend line through the spikes, which means 146. That could be much, much dramatical. From there, I believe we will find a bottom, and we will rise again, but that's what I expect to happen. Now going for Pacific pairs, watching on Australian dollar and looking on a monthly chart, Australian dollar could and most likely would continue lower. Now, I was bearish, if you remember, starting from 2010 and 11. That's not exactly how I predicted that to happen, but now with all the fundamental things going around Australia, I do think Australian dollar will go lower. The question is where and how exactly from. I do think we are going for this zone once again, and that's in between 0.86 down to 0.80. Maybe even 0.78 again. So I keep my bearish view and my bearish expectation. The question is how it will make it. Right from here down to the zone and then finding a bottom and rise back to 0.90 or higher, or alternatively a rise first of all to 0.90 plus, 0.94 plus, and then drop once again. I don't know to answer this question right now. Both scenarios could happen. For my point of view, as long as it's below 0.90, it's still bearish. Okay? But it could easily break it up, go to the levels 0.92 up to 0.94, find a top, drop down once again. But anyway, I think selling rallies should do well for the Australian dollar. I still believe this pair could take us to lower places. And how that should affect the Australian crosses? I believe on the short term, Euro Aussie and Pound Aussie both will find their top. They are dancing around extremes. And watching on a monthly chart, we have been on a bullish divergence. And we could expect a resistance number 3 at least. We have one here, one here, one here. It means we are coming very, very close to a top. For Pound Aussie, for Euro Aussie, same story. This was resistance number 1, number 2 zone, number 3 zone, which means we are there. Okay, and that means it could begin from here. That could begin from 158, 159. That's also acceptable. And a correction should take place down to 150, 151, 150 at least. Maybe even back to, 146, 145. 140 is the bottom in this case. Then I believe it will find the bottom and start the rise again. I think Euro Aussie is able, after the bearish correction here, to reach 170, 175 again, maybe a bit higher, before finding a very, very, very long-term top and dropping down again, most likely for something like 120 again, but that's very, very, very far from now, and that's why I believe on a bearish long term. And my reasons, of course, same. Okay, this is the middle. Most of the time, the pair spent above this middle, so I believe it will come closer, maybe above again, and then go all the way down again to be traded below the middle again, just to straighten statistics. This is my expectations. Okay, for short term, I'm bearish. Watching on the daily chart, we have beautiful 20 candles ride with divergence. We could easily see downward from here to 150, maybe even lower, 146, 145. Then I believe it will start to look for a bottom and will start to rise again. Same, I believe, will happen with the Aussie franc, just the vice versa. And with the Pound Aussie, same story, just with bit different levels. So I don't want to spend your time on all the Aussie pairs. That's just a general view. The New Zealandian dollar, but it's probably the most tricky pair. From one side, I will not be surprised to see 0.90. From the other side, I will not be surprised to see 0.70 again. As for now, I am leaving the New Zealand dollar alone. Seriously, I have no clear clue and idea how correctly to analyze that. So I prefer to leave this pair alone. But there is a cross I'm a big believer in. That's the Aussie against the Kiwi. Watching on weekly, monthly charts. Just take a look here. Okay, this is a classical pair. All-time bottoms is not that far. Okay, it's pretty much splitted. You see that? It's pretty much splitted from the middle. The middle is around 122, 120, let's say. Okay, it spans half time above, half time below, somehow from the downside a bit more. And that's why I believe Aussie against the Kiwi will find a bottom during 2014, and that might be during the first half of the year. Will find a bottom and will start its up move again. It has divergences on monthly forming. It has divergences on weekly forming. It has a dramatical It had a dramatical harmonical pattern which was broken lately, and I believe the pair, as I said, will find a bottom, and that might be because of the New Zealand, that might be because of the Australian. I don't know, and I don't really care why and how. And I believe from here the pair will start its up move back to the middle. Now the question is how long that could be, and the answer is that that could take the entire year. Okay, but I believe we should be looking to trade the bottoms, to trade a break of trend lines, and here we go. We have a very strong trend line. If it managed to place itself above, that could be the good trigger that an up move begins. Okay, I do think that most of the year we will spend the pair will spend time after looking for bottoms and trading to the upside, and that doesn't mean that the first part of the year could not remain bearish. Yes, it could. Okay, but as I said, seeking for bottoms and starting its bullish trends. That's what I would expect from this pair during 2014. How that should affect on the New Zealandian pairs? Well, for long run, I was very bullish for the euro against the Kiwi, but the pair struggles. It suffers to break here the 170. I don't like it too much. And that's why right now, from my very bullish view, I turn to be neutral. A break above 170, 171 will most likely will make me be bullish again. But as for now, I remove my extremely bullish view to neutral, and same about the pound against the Kiwi, which I still think will reach later or sooner the 220, 240 after that. But the fact it does not manage to break this annoying resistance zone does make it look not that correct, not that good. And as for now, I just switch my very bullish view to neutral. And now to Canadian pairs. Dollar Canadian, I think we are going down. I believe the pair is creating here some kind of wedge or something like that. I believe it will break it down. I believe the pair will take us again to this trend line first of all, and then I believe we will see the pair reaching the very big trend line right here. Okay, something like that. That's what I would expect for the long term. Then I believe the dollar Canadian will find a bottom, maybe here, maybe a bit lower, and will start to rise again. I think we could expect from dollar Canadian, watching on a weekly and monthly chart, we could expect from this pair to be traded once again around 109, 110, and that's what I think will happen. Now watching on historical lows and highs. Okay, this is not historical. Let's put it on monthly. Here you go. That's the low. That's the top. Okay, and you can see it's pretty much half. Okay, half time above, half time below. That's why I believe it should start for a very long term. Find reasons to go higher. Okay, that's why buying bottoms, from my point of view, is the correct thing to do for the Canadian pairs. Now, how that should affect on the Canadian crosses, like the Euro Canadian, I think Euro CAD, and maybe not because of the dollar CAD only, but also because of the euros. I believe that this pair historically were around the middle now. Okay, you can take a look here, and you can see that historically we're around the middle. That's why I believe the pair will find a top very soon, during 2014 somewhere. I believe it will find a top here around this zone and will start to put pressure on the bearish side. Now we have a bearish divergence. We had 20 candles right, plus the first stage would be to find the top and make the down move back to the bottom of the Bollinger Bands on weekly chart. And now a few words about Pacific pairs, dollar ZAR, dollar Turkish, and its crosses. Well, I'm a bit surprised as well from the power of the dollar ZAR and dollar Turkish, but I love to hold such opportunities, and the reason for that, they pay an amazing swap. Such opportunities can take 1, 2, 3, 4 years until cycle comes. And while holding such investments, you get a very, very big, good paid swap. Of course, if you don't have a swap-free account. Okay, but in general, these are the opportunities to invest. We have a monthly divergence. We have a 20 candles rise on monthly. Of course, that could reach 11. That could reach even higher, and that would be acceptable and even amazing. But then again, just watch on the historical things. Okay, we are spending most of the time above the middle. That means it's somewhere, something like here. Okay, of course it's never exact, and I believe that's why it will find the reasons from here to drop down to the middle again, and that's why I don't like to trade these pairs, but I definitely like to invest on such opportunities, and I believe I'm still bearish on this pair. And again, don't get me wrong here. It could go for 11, it could go for 12. That's all acceptable. That's all okay. Because I do think we will be somewhere like here once again. Of course, it's not necessarily going to happen in 2014. And that's why I say, if you don't mind to hold the pair for a very, very long run, just enjoying the swap, that's the pairs to be in. Same, I believe, is about to happen with the euro against the ZAR, which is here. Okay, you see that almost all-time highs, almost not that far, under crazy divergence. Okay, just measure the here the historical data, and you will understand why we are now under very heavy bearish pressure, expecting that to be here again. And yes, I believe it will find a top during this year, and that's why I think the investment here should be perfect. That's same about the pounds are, well, in general. And same, I believe is about to happen with the dollar Turkish. Despite the crisis and the political side right now, I think dollar Turkish will find place, find top, follow the divergence, follow the extremes, and it doesn't mean it could not go to something like 220, 230. Yes, it could. But for the long term, again, just measure historical data, approximately something like that, and you will understand we are most of the time above that. Okay, the pair will find the reason to go down again. I believe that during 2014, the pair should reach something like 190, 185 again, at least. Okay, so until that happens, that's an investment. Until it happens, it pays wonderful swap, and that's why I think such pairs are exactly the place to be invested in. Again, if you don't mind to hold that this investment as while it's going against, while it is working. Same, I believe, is going to happen with the euro against the Turkish as well. Just watching the historical data and figure out what is happening here. Okay, that's all-time highs. That's monster divergence, monster extreme. Last time extreme happened was twice on the last 4 years, 5 years. That was here and we got the entire down move here for something like 30 points, and it was here, and we got to drop down for 40 points. Now we are second time on extreme without a retracement. So once it's ready to complete itself, expect for 3-4 thousand points at least, which means that is going to make very nice moves. What's my expectation from the gold and the silver and the other commodities? I believe gold and silver both will find bottoms in 2014. I am still bearish. I believe gold should and most likely would go to 1180 at least, probably even to 1100, and follow this divergence, and we'll start then the up move again. Watching on the monthly chart, there is more room for bears. Same about the silver. Okay, but it will find a bottom soon, most likely sooner than many expect. But so far, I still remain bearish. And for the oil, my expectations, here we go, that the oil will continue to be in a range. It found finally, as you can see, a very comfortable zone, as you can see here, and I believe oil will stay around this zone. Maybe a bit higher, maybe a bit lower. It will play most likely back and forth, unless there will be some crazy political things happening. I believe it will be playing around the tops and the bottoms. I think it should reach the 101, 103 at least, but from the other side, that could reach 85 or even 80 again, while it's playing back and forth, up and down, up and down. Well, this is what I would expect from the oil to happen. And a few words about the indices. Sorry, there are more commodities, and one of them is corn. I think, and you know my view here, corn, neither from here or from the next support, will find a long-term bottom, will find a long-term divergence, will create it, and will start its up move again. Watching again historically, here we go. Okay, we are here below the middle. Most of the times it was spended below, as you can see from history. Only some part was spended above. So I believe it will find the bottom very soon during 2014, and will start its up move once again. I believe this opportunity here should be great and should be taken as a serious investment opportunity. I will not be surprised if we will see 300 or 330 again, but follow the weekly divergence. Follow this opportunity. Compared with the monthly extreme it's forming, compared with support, and simply invest based on that. Alternatively, of course, if it manages to break it up, okay, and above this range, then it might begin right from here. I think 600 is definitely fair. Between 550 up to 600 is a fair level to expect the corn to be traded at once again. And now a few words about the indices. Well, I was wrong with my bearish cycle expected on 2013. Completely wrong here. I don't know how exactly to explain the current bullish move, because I don't believe it. And I know I'm not the only one here. But just watch the extremes, okay? This is the Nasdaq monthly extreme. This is the S&P monthly, very close to extreme. This is the Dow. No, sorry. This is the Dow Jones close to extreme. Watch the weekly charts, okay? The divergences everywhere, right? So I believe it will happen because of technical companies, okay? The Nasdaqs, and I believe it will then affect the other ones. I do think that during 2014, it still might go and push a bit higher during the beginning of the year. S&P could reach 1900. Dow Jones could reach maybe 17,000. That's all good. That's all acceptable. But I believe right from there, we will start to create tops during 2014. We will see, from my point of view, first wave of the next bearish market. For long term, that's what I would expect to happen. Something like that. That's for Dow. That could be same drawn for S&P. Okay, something like that. Back to 1500s or so. Finding a bottom here. This would be probably the first leg. Finding then reasons for another top, and after that, on the 2015-2016, I believe it will find a very, very long term, and from there start its very, very serious bearish market. Now, for the short term, or during 2014, actually, I expect. Well, I did see a deeper correction in 2013 coming, but it did not. That's why 2014 turned to be even more bearish, pressured year. And I think that at least 20-25% of the time during this year will be under bearish pressure. The other part might be small bullish and flat period, but at least 20-25% of the time during 2014, I would expect to be bearish. And right now, fundamental, there are no reasons for that, right? But market always knows to find fundamental reasons. And don't forget, divergences on weekly and monthly charts normally predict that something will happen fundamentally. Do not forget 2007-2008 lesson. Okay? The divergence is there everywhere, on indices, on the majors, everywhere said something will happen and that will be bad, and it happened. Okay? Now, I don't claim it will be that terrible right now, but according to the extremes we have and the divergence is formed, something is forming. Yes, it's forming longer than expected, but the longer it is forming, the stronger the move coming after that. And don't forget what I always say, friends. I personally never look to be right. I just want to finish my analysis and the expectation with profits. And always are available to make it. You can short, you can hedge, you can trade, you can invest. It doesn't matter how you do that. As long as you do that and you are aware about what you are doing and you keep your conservative actions, you will be good. And for 2014, I think we are in front of several amazing long-term opportunities, mid-long-term opportunities. And I believe that 2014 will follow a lot of great opportunities for traders and for investors. And that would be my entire analysis. Now, I could go through all indices. My idea is the same. They all are following each other. DAX, I also think, will top. DAX could go and reach the 10,000. That would be acceptable. But pay attention to this monthly RSI. Last times it happened was here, starting from 2006 up to 2008, and we all remember how it finished. It was here before 2000 and during 2000, and we all remember what happened. Okay, now I don't know what will be the trigger. No one knows. Okay, but the longer it goes, the stronger it will come after that. And I believe all indices will do the same. What? Why? I don't know. I don't care. I'm not looking to be right. And I suggest you also not to be looking to be right. As I said at the beginning, I was very wrong during this year for a few expectations, like the yens, like the Australians, and like the indices, for example. And yes, I got losses there. But as I said, always are acceptable, and I am hedged there. I'm enjoying the current mistake I did my own. But for the next cycle to come, I know I will be on the bearish side. And I know I will profit from them as well. So the best thing you can do is prepare your trades for 2014. Prepare the scenarios, what will be if you will be wrong, and how to manage with that. And as I said, don't care to be wrong, friends. Care about making money. Okay? And during entire year, you could be wrong. But on the next year or on the next 2 years, your expectations could do well. And you can enjoy from both. From your mistake, which could be hedged, and from the next cycle to come. And that's why I believe, and watching on a monthly and weekly charts, that 2014 will bring with it some great cycle opportunities. And my best recommendation for you is to be prepared for that. Now, I would like to thank you very much for watching this video. I'm sorry it took so long, but I just wanted to cover as many pairs as possible. I probably missed some, but I wanted to talk about the most important ones and give you the best opportunities that I have. Once again, thank you so much for watching this video. I wish you most happy new year, and I just hope that life, not just forex, not just trading, but life will smile for you every day, and all your wishes will come true. And again, thank you very, very much for your support and your faith in me, even when I was wrong, believing in me and my ways, and giving me the chance to share with you what I know the best way. Happy New Year, friends. Happy celebration to you and yours and every one of your loved ones. Thank you for your time, and I'll see you again during 2014. Enjoy your vacation, enjoy your holidays. Yours, Vladimir Ribakov.